It's the posh travelling life, the travelling life for me. First cabin at captain's table, regal company. Whenever I'm bored, I travel abroad, but ever so properly. Port out, starboard home, posh with a capital P-O-S-H. Today, we have a special day. A posh day, you could say, because this is my first time actually getting a proper video response from somebody. A creator named Blacklight Jack made a video about me. Made a whole video just about me. I've never seen that happen before. And, well, it makes me happy. It shows I'm making something of an impression. Now, probably my most controversial video I've made has been one about AI art. Interestingly, though, the position I take in the video is just a very open-minded, conciliatory, very, I would say, non-bigoted perspective on the issue. It's like, this is okay. Things are okay. You know? I'm accepting of this new technology. And so, of course, because so many people have so much negativity, well, they brought that to the fore. And my video was flooded with several waves of comments, some of which were critical. Others, I wouldn't call them critical. I would just call them, what's a good word to describe them? Indignant, maybe? That I could ever dream of having a different opinion from them, even though they present no actual reason for being mad at me for this difference of opinion. But they must express their discontent with insults. It's all very silly. But this creator interests me a bit because it appears that he is something of like a furry from his little character there. From that thumbnail, the one that says AI keeps stealing my job, it actually looks like he's a black guy. So that's interesting. And there's another thumbnail with Jax in it. Which indicates that he's a fan of Digital Circus. Other videos that he's made appear to demonstrate that he's into cartoons, that he's like a cartoon reviewer kind of guy. Also, this whole thing with the Volcano High video game. That was a kind of a meme for a while. I remember that. He did a whole series on that. So it looks like he has some interesting stuff going on. Also, this little video here, looking back at anti-woke YouTubers, I actually have been working on a retrospect video about that same topic, about anti-woke YouTubers, which maybe I have contributed slightly in my time with one of my videos, at least, to that whole trend. So it actually seems like we have a lot of interest in common. Like, I like Digital Circus, I like animation, I like voice acting. I want to get into voice acting more. That's why I'm doing an audiobook right now. This guy appears to be a voice actor, and in one of his videos says, AI keeps stealing my... They took my job! AI keeps stealing my job. Because he's a voice actor. So he... And this is a video that he made before the one about me. 2 weeks ago. So, like, AI must have been on his mind as a thing, kind of a bugbear for him, I guess. And then somebody maybe showed him my video. And he picked a pretty good frame for me. Like, that smile, especially with the weird, uncanny face paint that I had on in that video. It definitely makes me look a bit unhinged. The title, though, is Let's React to This Insane AI Bros video. Now, I love a good all caps, feature in a title. I like the look of a YouTube title with all caps in it. Like, there's a certain rhythm that you get from it, and I tend to use that a lot. The insane bit is kind of funny, though. Because, like, Like, is it really fair to call me insane for this video? If you actually watch the video, like, I don't think if you watch the video and honestly look at what I'm saying that you can say any of it is insane. I go into detail about what a Luddite is and how I think there's a nuanced take on Luddites that makes the most sense, and how Luddites are not entirely wrong. But I don't think anything I said was insane. I think I pretty much justified and grounded everything I said. I mean, that's why the video ended up so long. But this guy's video is also very long. It's an hour long, just talking about me. Somebody made an hour-long video talking about me. It has 24,000 views. That's way more. That's almost like 3 times as many views as the original video got. So I'm really excited to see this. I think I have a lot in common with this guy. I'm interested in hearing what he has to say.
What up, gang? It's Jack. After my previous video where I explained how AI just robbed me of my jobs, I've received praise and support across the board from new viewers and OG fans alike, and I appreciate all of you. But after hearing all the arguments from you guys on why AI is just objectively bad, I've decided to see if I could find some folks on the other side of the fence.
Interesting. He searched out a different take. That's a good thing to do.
So I could see what they have to say and maybe respond and react to their arguments as well. And I found,
Your video is nothing but just another data point for my pile of content fodder. What are you gonna do about it, NerdSync? You gonna slap me with a f***ing subpoena?
So my most recent video...
Wow, okay. Picked an interesting clip of me where I was criticizing NerdSync's concept of or his take on the idea of the pile from, I can't remember what it was, if it was Sora or one of these platforms, describing their sort of content pool that they train their models on as a pile. And he was basically using that term to, I guess, poison the well, because it sounds basically what it sounds like is a bunch of bodies piled up and burned or something, like, you know, a bunch of refuse. And he was like, they're treating our hard work as if it's just another data point to throw on the pile. And I was basically, my point there was that it was just, I guess, an abuse of language to poison the well.
So my most recent video about fascism was removed by YouTube. The part that was flagged was where I said, What?
I do admire Hitler.
What? Yeah, you should strap in. This is going to be a little bit of a ride.
I wondered if he did a little bit of research about me, and it appears that he did.
So, after doing a little bit of digging, I discovered that the proper terminology for these folks are called AI bros. Super. And one big problem is that I've noticed that damn near none of these AI bros show their faces or make videos where they actually express their pro-AI defensive arguments. That, or maybe YouTube's algorithm is just throwing them all into the dumpster where no one can see them. But I managed to find one man, one very brave, very proud soul who wishes to clear up the irrational hatred of artificial intelligence ruining media. He is bold and is here to drop truth bombs like America dropped baloney on Afghanistan. And who is this person you speak of, you ask?
In my mother's basement.
This guy right here. Okay, this dude is a YouTuber called Forever Dirt. Yeah, he is a very, let's go with interesting individual who has said very interesting things, even outside of his stance on AI.
See, this guy thinks I'm interesting. That is really all I could ask for.
You're gonna see that later. I am very excited to show you that because I cannot believe I have to breathe the same air on this planet as this guy. He also has
please.
very interesting ways of presenting himself. Okay, I'm not gonna act like all people who support AI and media are like this weirdo. Obviously, you do not paint an entire group of people the same brush based off of one guy that may potentially be the worst of all of them. Like, I'm a fucking furry, as you can see. I am the last person to judge an entire group of people.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say it, but
based off of one weirdo that nobody likes, right? But still, he seems to have much to say in this situation, so I will happily listen in because I want to hear the argumentative points of AI defenders.
By the way, I like furries. YMS, one of my favorite YouTubers, is a furry. I find furries fascinating.
He is clearly on the defender side of the AI argument since he made a freaking hour-plus long video called YouTube Luddites Hate AI Art? Okay. What in the fudge cakes is a Luddite? Luddite?
He doesn't know what a Luddite
Why
is, okay.
did this moron paint his face silver? We're all gonna find out right now by reacting to this video. We're not watching this whole
I don't know if
video
you're going to
through and
find
through
out
because
why
I'm
I
not-
painted my face silver. Because I don't mention it in the video. It's just because I paint my face in a lot of my videos. I don't know. It's a gimmick, I guess, I came up with a long time ago. And I thought that the silver paint would be appropriate for this one because it's about, like, machine intelligence. And I thought it was, like, evocative of a sort of android imagery, Tin Man kind of deal.
Subjecting you guys to every single thing this fool has to say. I think it goes without saying that this dude clearly isn't all there in the head. So I will condense everything down as best as I can for you guys' viewing experience. You're welcome for me forcing myself to watch this junk for you guys' entertainment. Let's get started.
In 1776, 3 major revolutions happened.
A lot
in
of
the
people
British
thought that was
Commonwealth.
funny.
The 13
The
North American
1776
colonies-
opening.
Okay. No, and no. Right off the bat, I'm just going to stop you right there. Because trying to start this all off with some nonsense history recap is not going to work out for you. I already know what this guy's about to do. He's
What?
about to be all like, oh yeah, well, in the past, technological advancements didn't ruin everything for creators. Everything was fine back then.
No.
The reason why I know this is because...
No, I'm not doing that. I'm actually using an example I pulled from research on my video about Pandas Fen. That's how I found out about the Albion Mills thing. From learning about, what was his name? William James? Why am I not getting his name right? I mentioned him in the video. Anyway, that poet who wrote that epic Milton that starts with, and in those time... And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? That was a poem quoted in Pandas Fen. I looked into it and I found this whole interesting story about the Albion Mill. And when I was doing research on Luddism for this video, because I heard the term Luddite thrown around and I wanted to understand it better, my mind was brought back to this Albion Mills parable, and I thought it was really appropriate and a really good sort of analog and comparison we could make. I wasn't trying to justify AI on the grounds of the Albion Mill story. I was more trying to explain the origins of Luddism and the origins of this kind of mindset that we see cropping up again today, and to explain it sympathetically. That was my goal. I wasn't trying to use it to strengthen my core argument. It's not a thesis statement.
This BS metaphor that he's doing seems to be what AI users say very, very often. You see, back when I was still making webtoon videos on my secondary channel, Jack vs. the World, originally called Jack vs. Webtoon, I did a live reading of an AI art webtoon that was absolutely terrible, that also used historical advancements as a plot device and excuse for why AI shouldn't be anything to panic about. Any AI defender that uses historical recaps to push their pro-AI arguments is full of shit, because nothing in history is comparable to what's happening right now.
I totally agree. You can't just use historical examples to disprove a current state of affairs or a current thesis about something happening right now, because all the variables are going to be different for the different contexts. Everything has to be viewed in context. We can look at how things affect change and see patterns, but I don't think using that as a definitive statement of proof or anything is all that wise. So I agree with what he's saying here.
technological advancement of the past was literally stealing the finished hard work of actual creators who spent years, maybe decades of their lives honing their craft in order to produce low-effort junk. So
And here is where I disagree, because, and this is something I talk about with the NerdSync response, is that I don't view it as theft. And that seems to be one of the most fundamental perspective differences between me and a lot of the people who didn't like the video.
right off the bat, this dude's argument he's trying to push is foundationally based off of a false metaphor. But hey, still, let's listen to a little bit more of what this fool here has to say for funsies.
This, of course, had the effect of making it difficult for a regular miller to make a living in London, because now they had to compete with Albion Mills prices.
Okay, so this is the clip where the dude first shows his face IRL for his commentary. That alone is fine, but, don't you think you should open up explaining why you painted your face friggin' silver? Like, I'm
No,
sure he's gonna
no
explain
explanation.
later, maybe. But don't you think you should not open up with that?
I mean, you don't open up your videos explaining I'm a furry. This is why I have this weird looking canine with Spirit the horse eyes and eyebrows. His face looks actually quite similar to Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, I believe is that film.
Like, no one is gonna care what you're saying when you introduce yourself looking this friggin' ridiculous. Like, I'm
Nobody's
using a
gonna
persona
care.
right now, and somehow I look saner than you.
Not only did these machines threaten to take jobs away from traditional craftsmen, but they were also accused of flooding the market with cheaper, lower quality goods. And as standards fell in the market, they also fell in the workplace. The
So what's
textile business.
interesting about this is that I'm actually giving a bunch of reasons for why this sort of pre-Luddite issue. Why the people who were kind of the plaintiffs in this scenario, these workers, had a point. And then I go on with the Luddism to talk about how the Luddites had a point, and how their concerns are valid. Like, I spend a lot of time in this video validating the concerns of Luddites, which is one of the reasons why I think the response to the video and all the negativity toward it has been very dishonest, because people don't give me credit for that.
The term Luddite is now a very genericized term for any sort of person who is skeptical or afraid of new technology. It is often a word used with a certain amount of haughty derision.
No, it's not. It is not a word often used with anything, because nobody on planet friggin' Earth uses that word aside from pretentious history buffs and sheltered man-children. Actually.
I do remember one time it was used by the guys from that... I hate that podcast series, the Bald Move podcasts, but I was listening to their stuff for a while, and they were like reviewing Better Call Saul. They when Chuck first appeared in the show, they were wondering if he was some sort of weird Luddite who hated technology. And so the idea of Luddite, I think, in common parlance, is really associated with people just hating technology. And that's kind of what I assumed it was at first. Like, I assumed it was some sort of weird, like, Amish religious thing almost. It totally is nothing like that. I found out when doing my research that the Luddite movement is actually a pretty interesting case of left-wing organizing early in history, before the revolution of 1848.
AI is a new technology with almost limitless potential in the minds of enthusiastic supporters such as myself.
Oh boy, not so subtly displaying your personal bias towards this new tech advancement. You know what? Maybe I'm being a little bit unfaithful. So far, this guy has actually done a pretty good job of elegantly delivering his thoughts in a neutral tone, right? So,
Yeah.
I'm sure this guy won't be biased or petty about anything, right?
Yeah.
One thing I want to make very clear is that I am not against Luddites, and I don't think they are always silly.
Yeah.
Their protests are usually pointless, but I don't think that they're necessarily silly.
Oh. Okay. I guess I was wrong. This is going to be extremely biased and petty. How the
What?
hell do you make such a conscious effort to deliver your thoughts and information with such a calm tone, then proceed to throw these little sneak diss-ass remarks? Oh, and yeah, you're gonna...
I mean, saying their protests are usually pointless. So when we're talking about the Luddites, my takeaway from the whole thing, and I'm not saying that this takeaway is necessarily the correct one. My takeaway from the whole thing was that they were reacting to changing times, changing technology, and an economic downturn caused by Britain's war against Napoleon. And their response to this was to protest by attacking machinery. And this form of protest, I think, is not a great form of protest. I'm not a big fan of riots. And I think it gets to a broader idea where a lot of the time people with this sort of Luddite mentality will think that we need to keep technology from progressing in these directions in order to keep the status quo from turning in the wrong direction. And I don't agree with that mentality. I think that we need to work with the currents. We need to swim in the currents and not against them. That's why I'm a progressive. And I talk about that in the video.
I notice that this is a thing that he likes doing a lot. Keep an eye out for it in the future. He likes to pretend that he's...
I wasn't trying to be sneaky and get like a sneak jab in there. I was maybe expressing my takeaway in a succinct form, but I wasn't trying to sneak that in.
All composed and elegant, right? But many of his statements in his script are dripping with these side remarks that very clearly display restrained anger, if not him
restrained
just straight
anger
up being an a-hole.
Because
okay.
one misconception about Luddites is that they hate new technology, which is not true. They are critics of new technology.
Okay, maybe I'm responding a little bit too much right off the bat, and I'm sorry if I'm...
Yeah, I don't see any restrained anger in that. I feel like in order to justify that claim, he should have shown an example of it. Maybe the example at the beginning was more indicative of that when I'm kind of talking about the subpoena from NerdSync.
Being the obnoxious one here for doing that right now, but I gotta get this off my chest. Why is he talking about this Luddite nonsense like this? He acts like this shit is normal, you know what I mean? Like this weird-ass term from literal centuries ago from a different country is some kind of term that everyone knows about. Like this is some kind of...
Actually I'm not, which is why I'm explaining what it means. If I just thought of this as common knowledge, I wouldn't bother to make an explanation of it, but I think that it's not common knowledge. It is a term you sometimes hear people say in common parlance, but I wouldn't say it's a ubiquitous term, which means it was worth explaining, and I thought the explanation was a good one, and I thought it was one that kind of led very naturally into the thesis of the video.
Household name that everyone is familiar with. It's like no, dude, like this is just only you.
Modern problems require modern solutions. No positive social change has ever been achieved.
This is what I was talking about
rolling
earlier.
Back the clock. I am what's called a progressive. And this leads me to the point of this video, which is that while pessimism can be helpful in pointing out problems that do exist, it can also be very unhelpful in pointing out problems that don't exist. And many of the problems raised by these modern AI Luddites are fucking stupid, especially in the realm of AI art.
You see that? This is what I was talking about. He likes to pretend he's all cool and collected, but as soon as he actually gets to discussing the subject matter, he's got all the sass and attitude of a fucking mean girl in a high school lunch table clique. It's effing sad, bro. But yeah, let's hear his discussion out anyway.
It's a very confusing criticism coming from this guy because he's doing way more of this than I'm doing. I'm at least trying to keep the kind of rant side of things to an acceptable minimum. Trying to make sure that I have enough rigor and care put into my presentations that, when I do get a little bit more pointed with my critique, when I do, add in certain terms for emphasis and give it a kind of a ranterly quality, it is peppered in to an otherwise very well thought out and reasonable video. Whereas this guy doesn't seem to have that same standard for himself. And so I'm wondering why he thinks I need to hold this standard that he doesn't even hold for himself. Why he thinks that I'm pretending something just because I default to a more rigorous state than he defaults to. It's not really pretense. It's just a different style. It's restraint, I guess.
As far as I'm concerned, there is one very important, very legitimate fear.
As far as you're concerned, what exactly is and isn't a concern to you? Because what does and doesn't says a lot about you, dude.
When I say as far as I'm concerned, that's a colloquialism that means, like, as far as I know, or, basically it's there to act as a bridge or a filler word and to kind of communicate sort of subtextually, mostly textually, this idea that this is just my take. This is my perspective. I didn't mean it to say, like, I am only arbitrarily concerned about these few things and not these other things that I should be concerned about. That wasn't really what I was going for with that.
And that is the inability to determine what is real and what is fake, which of course you can imagine will lead to many frauds, scams and shams, and even worse, terrorism, big disinformation campaigns, confusion in our criminal courts. So yes, AI does pose an existential threat to our way of life, but that's where my concern ends. And
Whoa, hang on. That's it? That's it? That's the only thing that you're concerned about, not the moral repulsion that comes along with knowing that every single time you generate media and try to claim it as your own, you make a conscious decision to...
It's really funny how he's like, how I go into this like catastrophic world-ending vision of society where truth is totally abandoned and terrorists are using AI to manipulate public opinion. And then he's like, that's it? That's all you care about? Like, and then he goes on to talk about something that really is very trivial in comparison to all that. What about the theft? Well, I go into that in the video, why I disagree with that perspective. So maybe you should, watch the video first and then criticize me.
To steal art from others? Not the fact that its ease of access and production has caused a mass flood of low-effort slop onto various art websites, video creation platforms, and, well, pretty much every creative platform there is that hasn't barred it already? Not the excessive energy consumption it takes, not the price hikes for various technologies due to the...
Excessive energy consumption is an interesting one. That's one I've heard from a lot of people since making that video. It wasn't something I really had any knowledge of beforehand.
The AI boom, not how easy it is to weaponize AI for extremely nefarious and straight up evil purposes.
I fucking talked about that. That's what I talked about. That's what I said. I talked about this like apocalyptic scenario where that exactly was happening. So yeah, I am concerned about it. I said that in the clip you played.
Like, none of any of that concerns you, dude? Because...
bashing AI and pretending it doesn't have any good uses is not the way to handle the situation.
I actually agree with that 100%. But, in case you haven't been paying
Common
attention, there's way more negatives than positives here. Like, way more.
And in the realm of...
And that's a fair take. It's a fair take to say that on the balance, there are more negatives than positives to AI. I'm not going to disagree with that because that's not a cost analysis that I have personally made. this video isn't really about that. This video is more about criticizing certain takes on what AI is doing to art and the integrity of art.
So I have here a selection of various AI Luddite YouTubers, and I want to address their concerns from my pro-AI perspective.
You could see at that moment, I had like a burp building up in me, and I tend to do that when I'm trying to say something and there's like gas coming up my esophagus. I go and then I power through it.
Okay, so we're officially getting into the meat and potatoes of this video. I just want to let you guys know right now, he still has not explained why the heck he has painted his face silver. I am 12 minutes into this video, and he has not even mentioned it. I swear to God.
The video that prompted me to
It's interesting that he's expecting an explanation of a stylistic flourish like that. Okay, I apologize. My video camera might be on its way out. I'm having persistent memory card issues in a way that I never had before, to this extent at least. They've been getting worse over time, and I think it's like losing its ability to read cards, specifically like micro SDs with regular SD adapters. So I'm just gonna buy a new camera, I think, because given the fact that it doesn't matter which card I use, and the fact that this is a problem that's been degrading over time, I think it's likely that the camera itself is a culprit in this, and so yeah, I think I'm probably just gonna get another one, different model, but. Luckily, I happen to have this thing I bought for school, this webcam, which is kind of cool, like a wide-angle webcam kind of deal. It's a little better than the one that I have on my laptop screen that I usually use for streaming. So I guess we're just going to do it streamer style now, like I often do in my live streams. So it'll be a little bit less dynamic, a little bit less interesting from this point forward, but we got a little bit, like a good however many minutes at the beginning of how I would normally prefer to do a reaction video with the tripod mount. But anyway, let's continue watching this video from where I left off.
It's easy. It's very easy to steal someone else's video. Like, for example, if I pulled up on Penguin Zero and I started downloading videos from his YouTube channel, then just decided to start uploading them onto mine for God knows whatever reason, I would be stealing his content. End of story.
Of course, this is a rhetorical question, because when people talk about their content being stolen, what they are talking about is it being used without their permission.
Yes, that's how stealing works. If you take...
No, theft is when you take something from somebody and they no longer have it because you stole it. When people talk about IP theft, that's very different from regular theft. And I don't view this case of an AI being trained on a YouTube video as IP theft even, let alone stealing.
Take something from someone without their personal permission, then it is theft. Unless it falls under fair use and transformative work, like this response video I'm making right now. I'm not...
Okay, and it's not transformative to use a video to train a model to make completely different things. That's not transformative. See, that's where what you're saying falls apart completely.
What they are talking about is it being used without their permission. And I can kind of understand this. I mean, let's say you're a researcher. It's your profession to research. You get paid. People commission research.
Okay. So wait. You said a second ago that that was all rhetorical, right? So why did you even waste your time bringing that up when the next thing you're talking about here has nothing to do with that? Like, this dude is so weird, bro. Don't confuse your viewers like that. Just get to the point.
I think what we have here is a misunderstanding where he thinks that I'm making this video to be like really opinionated and to put across like a very bullish perspective on this. It's not what I'm doing. I'm actually trying to be quite honest with this and look at multiple angles, multiple perspectives, and try to see the pros and cons of each perspective. And just where my conclusion naturally comes from all of it. And so, yeah, I do make the case, in a way, steel man, as they sometimes say, for perspectives that I don't ultimately find all that convincing. That doesn't mean I'm not going to confuse people who are, paying attention. Maybe it's confusing if you're not used to, I don't know, like actually meritorious critical thinking. Maybe that was a bit of a backhanded stab, but let's keep going.
Videos of mine were swiped from YouTube by large tech companies who used those videos to train their AI chatbots without my knowledge or consent. You're gonna have to bear with me in this video because I am a little pissed off.
So to get right to the point, I just don't know why he's upset about this. For most of this video, he talks about this as if this is some big scandal, but he doesn't really explain why, almost like we as an audience are just supposed to know why this guy is so offended by this happening.
Yes. You should immediately understand why this individual is offended. It very much goes without saying that having your content taken from you by a multi-million-dollar greed machine is not something any...
Yeah, but as I said, it wasn't taken from him. He still has it. And so the thing is, it's not that I don't understand why, or that I don't understand what he's feeling or why. It's that there is no justification for it. And it's like he thinks that he doesn't need to justify it. But the truth is that it's an irrational position. It's a position that has no justification, no reasoning, and therefore it's irrational. So that's my point, is he's presenting it as if he doesn't need to explain himself, when if you think about it critically, he actually does, and he didn't.
Anyone would be comfortable with. How do you not understand the distress of hearing that someone had stolen something from them? Like, what is wrong with you, dude?
I understand how it can be distressing when you falsely frame it as if it's being stolen. And my position is that it's not stolen.
That I genuinely didn't think that my name would pop up in these search results. And when they did...
I'm sorry. I love the way he's treating this like this is some big fucking like traumatic event that happened to him. Like it's some moral outrage. How dare they use my videos for a productive purpose?
Yes. That is something to be offended by. Very much so. A YouTuber who spends a lot of time and effort working on making videos, and then a bunch of money-grubbing bigwigs pull up and snatch his shit for the sake of growing their own money-making artificial intelligence machine. That's a very distressing thing to have happen to any creator. For you to sit here and frame it as a...
And yet, I'm still not seeing any justification for this belief. You can assert that as much as you want, but without a reason for it, it's not going to be very convincing.
It was just stolen for productive purposes thing is total bullcrap. It was stolen by a company. The purpose of a company is to make money. Don't try to get it
to produce money, to be productive. Hence the phrasing productive purpose.
Twisted, kid.
How dare they use material that I created in the production of new technology? Am I the only one who doesn't see the problem here? If, let's say NerdSync makes a video about how to get rich on the stock market, and somebody watches that video and they're like, all right, I'm gonna get rich on the stock market. They take what they learned from that video and then they use it to make a profit. How is that really any different from these AI companies using his video as educational material for their little robot, so that their little robot can learn how to speak English and they can make money off of their...
One reason why it might be different is that there is an understanding, a kind of implicit understanding of permission. And so the creator of a video about how to get rich on the stock market is obviously expecting people to want to use that advice. and to use it for their own purposes. That's part of the intent of the video. So yeah, from the perspective of intent, there is definitely a difference. But I think from the perspective of consequence, there isn't much of an important difference. And that was kind of what I was trying to say. But yeah, there is a difference. It's not a clean analogy.
Little robot.
There's a difference. There's a massive difference. When someone makes a stock advice video, they are giving away knowledge to help those who want to grow financially.
Exactly.
And
that's the
artificial
point he's
intelligence
making here.
Taking another person's video for its own personal gain is different as night and day. The circumstances you provided here are wildly different on a basic fundamental level.
In both cases, we have material being used for education and then profit. Am I missing something here?
What you're missing here is
Am
the
I
concept of
missing something
permission.
here?
If someone gives away information to help others, then no permission is needed. If you take something from someone, then it's theft.
Their AI is a part of a data set called the pile. So if you were curious what these AI tech bros think about videos and essays and just creations in
And then he
general,
ramps up the
people
dramatic
spend
music.
days, weeks, months of their lives
Just for the
forming from their brain
deflation
into
here.
the real world. It's just another little piece of data for the pile.
It's almost like he
Good technique. I like this guy's video making technique. I actually do have quite a bit of respect for the art form of vlogging.
realizes that this is a non-issue, so in order to make it seem like it's an issue, he puts like sad music under it as he's talking about, oh, the creators who put all this hard work into what they make.
Well, yes, because that's true. It's true that the best creators out there put hard work into what they make. Artists, musicians, YouTubers, me, even you. I'm sure you spent a lot of time and effort working on this video you created right here, right?
And that's the irony when people say in the comments of that video, you don't care about the artist or the real craft of making anything. It's like, who do you think made this video? Do you think someone else made this video and I'm just reading a script? No. This whole thing was my creation. I recorded it, I wrote it, I edited the thing. If I didn't care about creation, I wouldn't have bothered.
Why in the world would you think that this guy is just guilt tripping?
Like, he makes it seem like these people have no respect for the creative process, but that's just an assumption, and it's not necessary to make such an assumption. I mean, you could just as easily say that they do have respect for the creative process, and they want to train their AI chatbot to mimic this great human creativity because they realize that this human creativity is so valuable.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Who the hell ever assumes that corporate bigwigs are respectful to
This is a new face he hasn't pulled out yet in the video. I like it.
creators? Like, what planet was this guy born on? Dumbass. They're companies. Massive companies at that. Companies are rather notorious for being...
No. Companies, in the words of Mitt Romney, corporations are people. Now, there is a little bit of truth in that statement, in that corporations are made up of people with their own interests. And I would say that you can't just dehumanize them as, oh, they are companies, a thing that is fundamentally inhuman. No. The people who create AI software are creatives. And so I don't think it's fair to say that those people don't understand creativity.
The polar opposite of respectful towards the creative people. In fact, they're quite notorious for treating the everyday man like they're expendable human garbage for the sake of profit. So no people are not going to have generous assumptions, especially when the situation revolves around a new machinery that grows based off of stealing other people's hard work.
He's doing a good job at justifying my inclusion of all the material on Luddism, because it's a great parable for the same thing. Like, he is very much playing the Luddite here. And I don't even mean that in a disparaging way, because I don't view Luddites as stupid.
Who the hell looks at okay, oh my gosh. I don't even know how to word this because it's so common knowledge and obvious to anyone with any form of common sense that I feel like it doesn't need explaining, right?
This is the problem. People get these ideas in their heads and they think that these ideas are so good that they don't even warrant explaining. When what's really going on is that they can't explain them. And I think there's a disconnect there where people don't realize that, oh, actually I can't explain it and therefore it's not actually a very good idea. Or if it has any merit, I don't understand it. So why am I trying to defend it? You know?
But this, weird alien man, doesn't understand the basic concepts of how media is usually utilized by certain entities. This motherfucker is trying to speak in the defense of bigwig corporate industries that 99.99% of the time are very inhumane and don't care about the...
I would say I'm more trying to speak in the defense of people who use their software and the people who create their software who are employees for these corporations. I'm not necessarily trying to defend the corporate structure as a whole.
Creative people. But everyone knows that. Everyone knows that bigwig corpos don't care about passion or anything. They're just trying to make money. But this dude right here doesn't seem to get that.
Well, it's not necessarily that they don't care about passion. They only have a responsibility to their stockholders. So the incentive system is skewed in capitalism. You know, it's like in The Incredibles when his boss goes, when he says, we're supposed to help people, right? And his boss goes, we're supposed to help our people. What about our stockholders? Who's helping them out, Bob?
This dude is so goddamn...
He's a very cartoony example of that premise.
Weird.
This is theft. They are using my words, my thoughts, and my ideas without my knowledge, without any sort of credit, and without my permission.
Yeah, and that's exactly the same thing that I am doing using your video in this video that I'm making without your knowledge or consent. And in fact, I'm doing it far more
This is where I
explicitly.
dig in a little bit. I am kind of trying to trigger NerdSync a little bit. But I'm not trying to attack him here. I'm trying to get him to think. And by extension, everyone watching this video who feels the way he does. I'm trying to poke people a little bit and provoke them into going, well, why do I feel this way?
More egregiously, I am actually using your videos. I'm ripping you off. I'm ripping off your content as fodder for my content. I am stealing from you directly. Your video is nothing but just another data point.
It is douchemaxing, I agree.
For my pile of content fodder.
But sometimes that's warranted in a video like this. I mean, he's doing it too, so it's not like he can complain.
Do about it, NerdSync? You gonna slap me with a fucking subpoena? Or are you going to accept that when you put something out for free, people are going to use it for transformational purposes? That's kind of how the information economy works these days.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay.
I don't know if he's done the facepalm yet. That might be a new one too.
Absolutely cancerous, whole
He has a lot of
down
faces.
nerd emoji ass attitude that you're suddenly putting on full display. There's a pretty big difference between a random guy online taking a video for the sake of reacting to this argument,
And he has a DreamWorks face too, which is fitting for the spirit look that is replicating here.
and a pack of money-grubbing millionaires taking his content for the sake of improving their slop engine. You're officially claiming that permission doesn't matter in this instance since it's a transformative usage of his content, and I can't deny that that's generally true, but the problem with the statement is simple. People are just not comfortable with their work being used by AI, whether it directly affects them or not. Okay, look, freak show.
Okay.
AI is not just some little thing that people are shrugging off. This shit is a massive, existentially distressing concept that is going to change everyone's lives within a few years. It's already affecting countless people's lives online, as you seem to be aware.
Well, that's an interesting perspective on the issue that I haven't seen anyone bring up before. That the idea that a creator could have a moral objection to his work being used in a data set for trainings, a technology that he has a moral objection to on a fundamental level because of the way it can be used for the purposes that I talked about earlier, the evil purposes, the dissemination of misinformation and everything that goes with it. And that's a very valid perspective to have. So I want to do my part to validate this perspective. I haven't heard it before. And it's good that he made it, because it's thought-provoking, and it definitely adds a little wrinkle into the picture.
They should have free reign to not have anything to do with it. People should have free reign to maintain autonomy over who they are and what they do, not having anything to do with that.
Maybe in an ideal world, yeah, they would. But I don't know. I'm not yet convinced by this framing. I think because my general kind of mentality, I'm doing that thing again. My general mentality about stuff like this is more like I don't know, an almost stoic point of view. Like, there are currents and there are flow states in society and in cultural evolution. And there are certain things we cannot change, and we cannot defy and hope to succeed in that defiance. And I just view this kind of thing, like information technology in general, like the internet and all that, as an example of this. And AI to me is the next step in that. And so I think, yes, we will need to work on how to regulate and figure out our policy about this. But I don't think that the answer is just to completely remove generative AI from the picture, because I think it provides too tantalizing an opportunity for so many people. And it is proven its value to so many people. Even if you don't personally think it has value, your opinion is quite irrelevant. It's only one data point, and there are many other data points in this picture. So that's my perspective on it, and why this way of thinking of, oh, we need to put the genie back in the bottle, never really works for me.
That thing. Like, if I'm minding my own business walking down the street outside and someone is recording me on their phone for no reason, I should have free reign to tell this guy to not record me. You want to know a fun fact? It's actually not against the law to do that. But regardless, that should not have to be a law, because it goes without saying that it is not an okay thing to do, provided you have a basic understanding of social decency and a conscience. And honestly, when it comes to him addressing NerdSync, his argumentative points basically boil down to him lacking both of those things. All of his responses and retorts basically boil down to, oh hey, I'm sick in the head and I have no ability to feel empathy, so your opinion is invalid.
I made a video.
No, they boil down to, you haven't justified your opinion. That's what they boil down to. It's not a lack of empathy. It's critical thinking.
Because I needed the income. That's what it's been like for like the past year. So yeah, forgive me if I'm a little pissed off when I see a company just straight up stealing my work that I've made a lot of sacrifices to create.
This sob story, man, come on. Complaining about how his job is hard. This great new job where he gets to make fucking YouTube videos for a living is hard because he has to edit a video while he's on vacation.
Oh my god, man, this guy is a dumbass! Who can... Okay.
Breathe.
Okay. I
Calm
cannot
down.
believe I am saying this again. I guess I'm dusting my old catchphrase off because, boys, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, first, the of all, why are you even bringing up the Luddites? This guy's life situation has nothing to do with that. You are the only one who keeps weirdly projecting this guy's personal struggles onto this random-ass historical BS. Second of all, what does the...
No, it's a parable with a comparison in it. So, I'm not saying that... I don't know what you think I'm saying, but I think it's quite self-explanatory why that's interesting and why that can inform our perspective, looking at how parallel issues in history were handled and the different conditions of those situations.
Terrible working conditions of 1800s industrialist Britain have anything to do with a modern-day YouTuber trying to make ends meet while also spending time...
Well, here's what they have to do with it. It's about making ends meet, as you say. It's about working. It's about craft. It's about the things we do to sustain ourselves and commerce. And it's about a technology coming in and disrupting that. And it's about the conditions of that labor. Which all seems to be the argument that NerdSync is making. It's all this kind of neo-Luddite argument. So that's what it has to do with it. I answered your question.
Time with his family. Thirdly, and most importantly, dumbass. This is not a competition to see whose life sucks more.
Well, yeah, and that's why I make the caveat after this clip that he played, that everyone has the God-given right to complain about their job. It's not something I'm trying to gatekeep from him. And I defend his right to complain that he has to edit a video on vacation. I think that's a fully valid complaint. And he should be allowed to make that complaint. And so me comparing him to people who had it worse than him, supposedly, that's not to try to discredit his situation as he experiences it. It's more to explain my kind of amusement of it. About how the original Luddites were really talking about big consequential things and reacting to them. And then this movement where we see so much passion put into these videos where people are so spiteful of this new technology for similar reasons. But it's all so trivial in comparison. That's kind of what I'm getting at there. It's not really a personal criticism of NerdSync as much as a criticism of the overall situation.
People just don't like putting in lots of time and effort into something only to have an AI snatch it up off them. How are you not understanding this, dude? What is your mouth?
Well, people don't... Like, the AI isn't snatching it from him. His work still mattered. It still made him money. You know, it still went into the business. So what exactly is the complaint?
Function. God, man. Yo, I have not gotten this heated on the mic in a long-ass time.
Another very popular YouTuber, Drew Gooden.
But it's a choice to get this heated. There's no need for it. It just seems like a very impulsive reaction to what I'm saying. Like, you're not actually thinking about this very clearly.
Made a video about this subject, and here we get to the real spice of this video, because a lot of people for some reason have really strong opinions about art, and art is just one of these topics that I think people take way too fucking seriously. So with the introduction of AI art, of course we have all these people throwing a huge fit over it, and I just don't see what's the big deal.
Yes, Again, no shit, we all do. Art is a creative expression, bro. Like why are you...
Okay.
Hold on. Well, first of all, why are you saying it like being passionate about your own form of creative expression?
No, not being passionate. Having strong opinions is not the same as being passionate. Having strong, spiteful, negative opinions about a new technology isn't the same as being passionate about creativity. This is very different.
Is something dumb and pitiful, like, oh my gosh, why do you have such strong opinions on art? What a waste of time. You're so dumb, dude. How pitiful. Oh, he's like a James Bond villain, the way he's talking down to people who actually care about their passion and stuff, you know? So yeah.
No, I'm talking down to people expressing an unneeded, spiteful opinion about a new technology and justifying it on the grounds that, oh, I'm just passionate about my art. Well, I am too, but I don't use that as an excuse to justify bigoted beliefs that I don't actually have any reasoning for.
Yeah, ignoring the fact that, once again, that says a lot about you, not NerdSync, here's something that I really want to ask. If you yourself clearly do not understand the passion that people have for creating art, why are you even here trying to argue whether AI art is okay or not?
I mean, he's mistaking what I'm saying for something else, basically.
Like, if you found out that Gordon Ramsay had the culinary understanding of a part-time McDonald's employee, you wouldn't find any of his food critiques to be very valid, would you?
Anthony Fantano and
No.
Gabby Bell also
But
made video.
You can see, like, my work speaks for itself. I'm not the best videographer by any means. Not the best editor by any means. But presentation of ideas in a vlog format is something that I put a lot of value on as a craft. So, you know, my work speaks for itself as much as any chef's work speaks for itself.
Videos about this subject, and all three of these videos, they're actually not that bad, and the people in them make good points for most of the video. I would say the majority of the content in these videos is fine, but there's just a few things that I take issue with. I'm a nihilist, so I usually refrain from having strong opinions about things.
No. No way. Absolutely not. Do not talk to me about how you don't have strong opinions on anything after you just did this.
Your video is nothing but just another...
After I tried to poke and provoke somebody into not having a strong opinion about something, into letting go a bit of his, you know, tension. I mean, that's very nihilistic right there. What strong opinion was I expressing there? I don't think I was expressing a strong opinion. The exact opposite of that. I was expressing that he should let go of his strong opinion.
Data point for my pile of content fodder. What are you gonna do about it, NerdSync? You gonna slap me with a f***ing subpoena?
I mean, yeah, the presentation style is strongly worded as a rhetorical device. That doesn't mean it's a strong opinion. He's mistaking presentation for content.
Oh yeah, by the way, I don't have strong opinions on anything, by the way. Also, another thing, I'm really glad that you openly told us that you're a nihilist, because that basically explains literally all of your behavior in this video up to this point. Like, just not having a basic understanding of human empathy and everything. Look, I'm not like a Jesus freak at all. I pretty much mock all...
In the nihilistic perspective that I have, empathy is one of many... and human feeling is one of many forces in motion in the world. That's what it is. It's a matter of interests. It's not some sort of moral imperative from on high. It's a matter of fact.
All religions 100% of the time. But
That's not to discredit empathy entirely. It's to say that it is a matter of fact rather than of truth, I guess, in a kind of metaphysical way.
promise you right now, any guy that openly admits to being a nihilist while also feigning intellectual superiority over people that he personally thinks are being emotionally irrational is a man-child, is a Reddit
Really?
incel. I am not joking. I am
Let's
not
hear
feigning
that back.
intellectual superiority over at all. I pretty much mock all religions 100% of the time. But I promise you right now, any
Okay.
guy that openly admits to being a nihilist while also feigning intellectual superiority over
So openly admits to being a nihilist.
people that he personally thinks are being emotionally irrational
Believing myself to be intellectually superior to people who I disagree with on the grounds of them not justifying their emotional beliefs. All right.
is a man-child.
Just those two things put together makes you a man-child? To not ascribe arbitrary value to things and to think that other people should follow suit makes you a man-child. This is another one of those beliefs, I think, that he's probably not going to do any work to justify. I mean, it's so common for people to make these sorts of claims and then do nothing, like to be totally lazy about actually backing them up. Like, anybody could do that.
Is a Reddit incel. I am not joking. I am
Reddit incel. Like, we're going a step further. Now we're talking about me being on Reddit, which actually I was a very big Reddit user. So that's something that, before I got banned. So that's something he got right. Incel, though, I mean, I don't have a lot of sex, so, but it's not like it's not a choice. Like, the term incel implies that it's involuntary. Pretty sure in my case it is voluntary. I just don't pursue that kind of connection with people very often. So, yeah, I don't think I'm an incel just because I don't get laid very much.
I'm not just saying that as some kind of cheap diss. I promise you that this guy has not mentally matured from his
There's his voice acting coming out. He's a voice actor.
school trauma. I know this because neither have I.
Kind of amusing to me to watch the strange and bizarre hills that people choose to die on. Just the randomness of it. Like, I choose to die on the hill of art. Like, okay. Okay.
God, look at this douche, man. Look at this fucking douche. Look at the way this sucker talks, bro. This dude thinks he's some kind of internet celebrity
Cocksucker? Another accurate description.
or something. This clown is
This guy
sitting
knows
here
a lot
acting
about me.
like he's a super duper above all this type of guy. You know what I mean? At least that's what he's deluded himself into thinking. It's goddamn unbearable witnessing this guy live in his fantasy world of intellectual superiority.
When people ask what the point of any of this is, the dorks who defend it all tend to say the same thing. These are just tools to help anyone create art. Yeah, I want to push back on that a little bit. I am wholeheartedly for the increased accessibility of creative tools that help you take matters into your own hands. You want to make a short film? The camera on your cell phone is better than 90% of the cameras in human history. Want to learn how to edit? There's thousands
I
of
think
free YouTube
this Drew Gooden bit is getting to a point that I've seen in other comments under the video, where I think there's a misunderstanding where people think if you enjoy making AI art, that means you have some egotistical idea of yourself as some creative artist. Now, maybe in some cases that's true. Like, I think maybe it's true in a way for the Amazing Atheist, because I've heard of him talk about AI art and his use of it, and he kind of has a bit of a smugness about it, but that's a little bit performative in his case. I don't think it's another one of these unnecessary assumptions. I don't think it's necessary to assume that just because you like making AI art, that means you assign some sort of significance to that, thinking of yourself as some sort of a creator. I think AI art has a different place in creativity than traditional crafts. It's a very different kind of thing. It shouldn't be conflated in that way.
People have this idea that AI art is bad because it removes the human element from creation.
Yes, because it does. How is that egotistical? It objectively does remove nearly all human interaction. Bro, you type in...
Well, I'll say why it's egotistical, because it gets to this idea that what is good about arts and crafts is the fact that it says something about the person who made it. Now, that is something that you can appreciate in it that is lost from generative AI. But that doesn't mean that that is the only thing that matters about art. That's the only thing good about it. And so that's why I say it's egotistical, because it's all about the ego of the artist rather than the work itself.
In a small handful of keywords into an art generator, and you get your goodies within seconds mostly. What human involvement is there in comparison to spending all day and night?
I'm not saying that there is human involvement in the same way. That's immaterial to my point.
Drawing an image.
Never mind the fact that it actually does take a certain amount of skill and knowledge to craft prompts.
This is one that, yeah, that's, oh, another face. The laughing out loud face. Yeah, someone in the comments of that video said, did you just say the term craft prompt with a straight face? This was another sticking point. I'm not out here trying to act like generative AI is comparable to real arts and crafts, regular arts and crafts, traditional arts and crafts. I was really only using this point to add a little bit of nuance into the picture, because people think it's as simple as just saying, oh, I want to see this, and then you press the button and it comes out exactly the way you wanted it. But if you actually have a vision in mind for something that you want to see, you actually kind of do. For the current AI models that we have, you have to put a lot of effort. You do have to put a lot of effort into understanding the way the engine thinks, the way it processes words that you put into it, how it interprets those words. And you have to do a lot of trial and error in order to get things to work the way you envision them. And it's very difficult to get specific results. And if you manage to get something that's very close to what you were envisioning, that's quite an achievement. And I would say that qualifies as a skill. So, you can laugh at it because it sounds silly when I just say it like that. But, it's simply the truth. I'm just saying it because it happens to be true. But yeah, it's this idea of the egotism of it. Because we are assigning full significance to the ego of the creator, he thinks that I am then assigning that kind of egotistical significance to the act of creating a prompt. It's not really what I'm doing. I'm just saying it happens to be something that that can be a skilled craft in a way, it's just the truth.
Hell no! Hell no! Hell no! This guy I did not hear this guy just say craft prompts with a straight face.
Wow, he just straight up ripped off one of my commenters. Was he the guy who commented that? Yeah, no, it was Greg Henriksen who came up with this little jab. I have a feeling that this guy read the comments and copied them. Not very creative, is it?
I did not seriously hear this guy just say that. Yo, get out of here, man. This guy has to be trolling. This has to be an act. It has to.
Yeah, and of course he's not going to explain himself. He's not going to explain why he thought that was such a laughable statement. he's just gonna pretend that it goes without explaining, you know? That it goes without saying, that it's so obvious, that it's common sense. It's so easy to think whatever you want when you are so arrogant that you believe you don't have to justify anything you say. It's groupthink is what it is.
That skill and knowledge could therefore be considered a craft or an art of its own. Even if we ignore that fact, it's still illogical to say that AI art lacks utility just because the people making it are not real artists, whatever that means.
Where did you get that from? Who said that AI has no practical who said that AI has no
No, AI art. Like generative AI, which that Drew Gooden said it. Basically, he was like making a whole video saying that AI art sucks, and he was like, the dorks who defend it say blah blah blah. Yeah, like this was Drew Gooden who I was talking about.
no practical utility? Who said that? AI in the art scene actually has plenty of actual utility. That's the whole reason why I didn't immediately hate AI art.
Okay, but you're this is not my point. This is like a straw man argument that you're pulling here. I am not saying that other people are saying that AI as a whole has no practical utility. That's not what I'm saying. It's not my
to
point.
begin with, you know what I'm saying? Like, I saw how helpful it could be for comic artists who need to generate a background for their work, and the AI machine generating this background would only be utilizing that artist's work, not stolen stuff you took from somewhere else online. By the way, there's actually manga artists who do that right now, which, you know, good on them. Those guys are smart. But unfortunately, due to its ease of access, only non-skilled, ignorant idiots are currently making use of it, usually to either A, inflate their fragile ego and sense of self-worth, or B, make femboy hentai.
Yeah, and this is just a nonsensical stereotype. There are plenty of people who use it just because they enjoy making little pictures of things that they imagine in their heads, or just experimenting, like, well, what is the machine going to come up when I put in a random word? That's one of my favorite things to do in Midjourney. It's a toy, it's an amusement, it's a fun time.
I can tell you that there is a process to it. There is a lot of trial and error. And
I don't know. I think maybe this point I made a little bit too strongly. Maybe I harped on this one a little bit too much, because it is more of an aside. But it is correct to say that it's, well, incorrect to say that AI generation involves no skill whatever. Maybe it was I put a little too much emphasis, devoted a little too much time to making that point in the video. And maybe that made it a little bit misleading as to why I was making it. But it is correct.
there is a lot of skill and knowledge that you accumulate in trying to craft prompts.
Okay. You want to know why I'm laughing my ass off? Because no. Making...
Well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe he is going to justify it, you know? I made an assumption that he was just going to laugh it off as if it was obvious. Well, let's hear what he has to say.
AI-generated content is not skill-intensive even slightly. Bro, your only way of changing the way the AI generates the content is via removing some keywords and adding others. It is literally just whack-a-mole with repetitive typing. It does not take any form of skill to do that, bro. If anyone can do it...
No, it does. It takes skill to be able to do it reliably and get good results every time. Like, there's a trial and error process to figuring out how the machine thinks and what terms will get you what results. Like, I think he's mistaking this point as if I'm saying it's like a skill on the level of other traditional skills. No, just because I'm talking about it as a skill, which it is, doesn't mean that I'm saying that it's comparable to other skills.
with just a minimum amount of trial and error, then it is not a skill. It's just a menial task. No different from cleaning your room or changing the oil to your car or making...
Well, if you don't know how to change the oil to your car, and you learn how to do that, that's a skill. So, yeah, it is a skill. These are all skills. Cleaning a room, knowing how to do that is a skill. That was my whole point. Just because as a skill, it is not as intensive, or the barrier to entry isn't as steep. That doesn't mean it requires no skill and the computer does all the work for you. There is a human element to it. There is intention in it. It's not just a process that exists outside of the human world. Humans invented it for very human needs.
Making a peanut butter jelly sandwich, man. Like, sure, there are some quirks to learn about doing these things,
yes,
but it doesn't make them skills. Okay, a little bit of story time.
Yes,
here.
it does.
I used to be a custodian.
That's what a skill is. Definitionally, what you're saying makes no sense.
For an Italian restaurant back when I was in Queens, New York City, right? F***ing missed that place, by the way. Now, keep in mind, this is not some little pizza joint or nothing.
It's interesting how he says something that just on the face of it falls apart with its own internal contradictions, and yet he's so confident in that he chose to pull out the rolling on the floor laughing graphic for that one.
This is like the real deal, like reservations, $50 steaks, stuff like that. You guys ever watch that show The Bear on FX? Yeah, it was basically nearly up to that level. Okay, so my boss who hired me, he was one of the top chefs for the kitchen. I asked him if I could ever get promoted to be a chef like he is, but he said no. And the reason why is because I needed a chef's certification to work in the kitchen. A high amount of professional skill was required to work in a kitchen for a restaurant.
There is a steep barrier to entry to that in a way that there isn't for generative AI. None of that goes against what I'm saying.
Restaurant that top notch. Like, this ain't some little McDonald's, you know what I mean? So I just stuck to doing custodial work, cleaning sinks and tables and taking out trash and stuff like that. And my boss was, making all the fancy pants steaks and searing and all that stuff. You see, my boss and I both had our own duties to perform, but very clearly only one of those things took actual skill, and, well, of course, being a chef is the only thing that did take skill. What I was doing in that restaurant were just tasks. Yes, I did learn some things on the side, like how to clean large areas correctly and how to use an industrial dishwashing sink.
No, this is not on the side. This is an integral part of the tasks you were doing. You had to learn certain skills in order to do the tasks to maximum efficiency. He is making a false distinction between skill and menial labor.
Stuff like that. But none of those were actual skills, because these tasks that need to be completed are very menial duties that anyone can perform with maybe 2-3 days worth of time and memorization.
It takes 2-3 whole fucking days to learn something. That's not a skill. Like, this makes no sense.
This is why these are all considered entry-level jobs, because it represents the entry point, or the easiest to perform duties, in conjunction to that position in a career path. Or in your case, Forever Dirt, a creative path. Just like how everyone is allowed to reach the entry point of basic retail or restaurant jobs because the duties that need to be performed do not take any form of skill, the usage of AI in any creative medium is essentially no different. If actual artwork is 4-star Italian restaurant type goodies, then I would say AI as it is like a freaking TV dinner, or maybe some corn dogs or Hot Pockets. And don't get me wrong, like, I like Hot Pockets. I got like 10 Hot Pockets.
So you admit that there is a value to cheap to produce, low barrier to entry, low cost goods. So right there, you can understand how that is applicable to AI art, right? There is a value to it. It's not the same value. It's not maybe as valuable. But it's all about sort of the cost of production versus the quality of output and how you weigh those things out. And You know, there is a use for it. Just as there is a use for, like, a corn dog you buy at the freezer section of a grocery store.
To my freezer right now. But you can't really call that the real deal when it comes to food, can you?
The real deal, whatever that means. The real deal. You can call it food because it is food. Just as you could call it AI art because it is art. It fills kind of the same functions as art.
No one eats a goddamn Hot Pocket thinking they're actually, like, having some kind of authentic culinary experience, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I never said they do. This is a straw man argument. It has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Like, you know what you're getting yourself into when you eat one of those. You're looking to snack up on something real quick because, oh, hey, you just spent 9 hours at work and you don't want to think that hard about what you're about.
I think he thinks that I am responding to Drew Gooden's position by saying, no, AI, generative AI is like every bit as valuable as these other skills that Drew is a fan of. No, I am rejecting Drew's whole premise that the amount of skill and effort it takes to make something determines is like the only qualifying factor for it having a value in society. That is the point I'm making. It's a nihilistic framing in a way, like just throwing the whole chessboard off the table.
About to eat, and you're also going to pray to God that you're not going to shit your guts out tomorrow morning after you eat it. That's what you're getting yourself. That's
rejecting the
gist.
framework in which the argument
These
is
tech
made.
people will never understand. Call me stubborn, but I would rather make something shitty on my own than watch a computer make something good.
As someone with a lot of experience making shitty things on my own and also making some pretty impressive things with AI, I think this is pretty hilarious. When you make something on your own that's shitty, yeah, it's a learning process.
Hilarious is one of those words I don't really like very much because I think it's overused. Hilarious and ridiculous is another one. I've been thinking of... I try to avoid overused words as much as possible.
It is worthwhile, but it's never rewarding to make something shitty. I don't know. I feel jealous of other people who say they feel rewarded after making something and then being like, this is complete dog shit. Like, if you can feel rewarded after that, I fucking envy you because I've done it many times and I've never felt rewarded from that. What I have felt rewarded from is creating a generative AI prompt that spits out something that actually looks pretty decent.
A cheaper reward.
Are you for real?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because, no, think about it with your chef analogy, all right? This actually does make a lot of sense. If going to the store and buying a thing of corn dogs from the freezer section only costs you $5.99 and a trip to the store, and then you get home, you can heat it up in the microwave and eat it. Compare that to going through the effort to, like, buy a bunch of expensive ingredients, read a recipe that's really complicated, try to put everything together, and by the end, you burned it all. It's undercooked, it's overcooked, it sucks, it's not good to eat. Which experience would you rather have? See my point? There is value to cheap things. And there is value to expensive things. There isn't much value to expensive things that give you nothing, that are totally wasted. That's the point.
sad, dude. You felt more rewarded typing a small handful of words into a prompt just because...
Yes, because it is an immediate, like, I get an immediate result, and it's something interesting. It's not going to be as, like, special as if it were made by hand, and it's not going to... It's going to have, like, flaws, like maybe the hand looks a little weird or something.
Is what you got as a result was something you liked and better than what you usually work on? Who feels rewarded?
Better than what you usually work on? Let me hear that again.
A handful of words into a prompt just because what you got as a result was something you liked and better than what you usually work on?
Okay, just because I have made a lot of bad videos in the past, that doesn't mean that, like, AI generative stuff that I've made, like pictures on Midjourney, is better than what I usually make. I think I think my videos have more of a value to me on the whole than pictures on Midjourney. But like, yeah, a bad video, if I put a lot of effort into it and it doesn't turn out well, I'm gonna feel more rewarded by the cheap experience.
Who feels rewarded by that? That's pitiful, bro. It's
Who feels rewarded by it? I mean, what do you think I mean when I say reward? Do you think I mean it's like a profound thing? No, it's just a little like, oh, that's cool. That's what I mean by reward. That's my reward. I type it in and it's like, oh, that's cool. That was fun. I like the look of that. I'm going to save that to my hard drive.
It's literally all stolen artwork from someone else that you vaguely manipulated into your personal whims.
No, that's not what it is. It's an AI model that's been trained on other people's work that is creating its own work. It's not vaguely manipulating, whatever that means, vaguely manipulating stuff that already exists. It's creating something new based on patterns that it learned from analyzing other stuff.
Because it's all about the investment of time versus the quality of product that you're getting. If the quality is not perfect, but it's pretty good, and you only had to spend seconds making it, that can be a pretty fulfilling experience. That can be a pretty fun experience.
So basically, your defensive statement is that instant gratification is better than grinding on a proper skill, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not. I'm saying the per project reward that you get from making bad videos is not good. And it's less rewarding overall than the instant gratification. Over time, acquiring a skill is different. And I do go into that in the video. So this is a dishonest framing because he's contradicting something that I said in the video, pretending I didn't say it.
Wow. What a shallow human being.
AI art has become so much of a problem that there are now AI art detectors online. And I'm sorry for...
In fact, I think I said it in that bit. I think he just cut that out, pretended it didn't happen. Lied.
Referring to it as AI
Which
art.
is something I don't like to do, which is why I provide context and perspective and blah, blah, blah. And my videos end up being really long.
I don't want to, as art is literally the expression of human creative skill and imagination.
And using AI software to generate something that you're interested in seeing is not an expression of the human imagination?
No, it's not. What it is an expression of that AI's understanding of whatever images that it took from actual artists, pretending to be an expression of the human imagination.
Not necessarily, unless you try to pass it off as traditional. But the prompt itself is an expression of the human imagination, or the human will. I will this thing into existence by writing this prompt.
The truth is, the word art doesn't actually have a strict definition. It's a pretty vague and loose term that's been used over the years to describe many different things. But the common denominator, the thing that this word has proven useful for describing over time, has basically been any kind of craft or skill that you can acquire. Something that you can learn how to do. The art of painting, the art of mopping a floor, the Zen art of tea making, the servile arts, the liberal arts, ars gratia artis. Art can be pretty much anything, which is why it's always stupid, I think, when people try to artificially limit what constitutes art.
And this is what I was talking about earlier with the hills that people die on, the arbitrariness of these strong opinions about art. This is what I mean.
Video games are not art, or modern art is not real art. Like, it's just a word. Who cares? There is no reason to be a stickler over whether AI art constitutes real art. It's art. It's stuff that people make. Get over it.
It is amazing to me how excessively unlikable this guy is. Like, it's genuinely impressive. It's always been an argumentative point on whether certain things are considered to be an artistic expression in the past, such as really well-made video games with movie-grade writing and stuff. But it's a collectively common opinion that AI art is not real art because, like I said, there is no artistic process or skill required to make that image. A machine stealing other people's art and putting it into itself so that you, a random person, can generate your own image out of all of that stolen content is not art. It's just an image. I'm gonna start using food analogies again. If you grab the Hot Pocket and put it into the goddamn microwave and then handed it to a professional chef saying, oh yeah, this is my authentic Italian cuisine I cooked. I cooked this dish myself.
Yeah, and that would be unethical in the same way that passing off AI art as traditionally made bears that same kind of stamp of disingenuousness. And there's a reason why you don't see me defending that kind of behavior in this video. So maybe focus on what I'm saying and don't pretend I'm saying something that I'm not saying. You know, that's just basic etiquette, I would say.
It was a very long and painstaking process, but I felt very rewarded after creating this dish. Like if I pulled up on a professional chef and showed him that, then naturally anyone would think that I'm just f***ing around or maybe I'm just crazy. Because, you know, I did not actually do anything there. The food was already made by itself, and I essentially just warmed it back up. Like, that is not your creative expression. You did not create that. As long as it
actually, I would say, in this case, for this scenario, he's right. But it doesn't fully apply to AI art because AI art is made with your input. You make some creative choices about what you want to see. So it's not a one-to-one comparison. It is a good comparison when it comes to the value of the effort versus reward. It's not a good comparison when you're talking about whether it constitutes a creative expression, unless you're doing something to the Hot Pocket, like maybe you're like adding a sauce to it or something. You're making something out of it.
Generator full of other people's work is involved, you are not involved in making it. It is not your artistic expression.
Hate to break it to you, but you're wrong. You are involved. If there were no humans involved in making AI art, the art just simply wouldn't exist.
Period. Get over it.
Some people will say in argument to that, well, you can't copyright a style. And while that's true, a lot of the generated works in the style of are very, very obviously based off of one person's specific style, regardless if it generates something new that we haven't seen before. Regardless if you think that it's theft, it is definitely unequivocally questionable and unethical at best.
Why?
You know what's funny is I'm watching this back just now. I don't know why I never really thought about this before. But what Gabby Bell is saying, I think, is has a lot of context involved in it. Because I remember watching the video, and in the video she does do a lot of setup work, talking about like art competitions and AI art being entered into these competitions. And I think I should have been more cognizant of that context when discussing her broader point about, the ethics of AI art, because I think it all connects to this that she's talking about, where people are sort of putting this fake stuff into real art competitions, which of course is bad. Of course, that's unethical. Just, even just from a standpoint of it breaks the rules. And I don't know why I didn't really make that clear or put that together, because in this video, I'm kind of uh, taking it out of context, I think. Maybe that was a mistake I made. And so, yeah, apologize for that.
If I paint a picture with the intention of making it look like a Picasso painting, is that unethical? No. Well, then why is it wrong to have AI do it?
It's wrong because of the amount of time and skill it takes to replicate that artistic ability. When a person learns to mimic an art style, it takes a very, very long time to do so. And it takes a lot of effort to get down just right correctly by hand. When a machine snatches up artwork to dump out a resemblant image in that style, then it's not a skill at that point. Once again, it's just a menial task that can be performed and replicated en masse. This devalues that originally valuable artistic ability, since a machine can just replicate it in a nanosecond.
Interesting. So his point here is that it is wrong because it devalues the work. I don't agree. I don't see what is intrinsically unethical about mass producing something that could just as easily be made by hand. And that gets to the whole Luddite problem with the machines that mass produce cloth versus traditional craftsmen making cloth by hand. You get a reduction in quality, you get a devaluation of the handcrafted work because it's now worth less now that there's a glut of this stuff commercially. But I don't think that commercial devaluation really has much to do with the value of the work itself, the intrinsic value. That's a different thing. So that's why I don't think this is fundamentally, I would say, a commercial argument. Because what other way would it devalue the work? If the work is good enough and stands on its own merits, then how does it become less on an intrinsic level because other people are mimicking it with little skill?
This doesn't mean that all machines that can replicate a creative ability are bad. It just means that it's very bad and really vile for an innocent person to spend their entire life honing a skill only for a bunch of greedy corpo douchebags from Cyberpunk 2077 to produce a technology that takes your years worth of hard work and effort and basically gives it out to free for anyone who can pay their bullshit subscription fee.
The most useful analogy would be to say that craftsmen created all these techniques of making, for instance, cloth. Let's use the Luddite example. Like the concept of a wool sweater is something that was developed by craftsmen who figured out techniques to make it by hand. And then in creating a machine that does it for you, you're basically taking all the years of experience that went into creating these techniques and then automating them. So you're taking people's hard work, using that to kind of engineer a different solution, and then mass producing it. I think that's a very comparable scenario. I don't think he would say, because he said explicitly earlier that it's not inherently wrong to do this, to create a machine that can mimic traditional handcrafts. And so I think he's making a distinction here where none need be made.
The cost of bread be better.
We only have about 15 minutes left of the video. I'm getting a little bit burnt out. Hey, you might notice I'm slowing down a little bit. So I'm glad we don't have that much longer to go.
Than trying to artificially cling on to outmoded and less efficient forms of production. It would be better for everyone to have cheaper bread than for a few people to have the ability to make a living making flour the way they used to.
Once again, he uses irrelevant history BS from the past to argue out his point. And it's dumb. It was dumb when he did it the first time, and it is dumb now.
It's not irrelevant. It is analogous. I'm not using it in lieu of arguing my point based on just the contemporary merits of the issue. I am using it as a point of comparison to give more perspective about how this issue can be broadened and looked at from different angles. Which helps. It just helps to have a broader perspective when you use historical analogies like this. It's just it's a rhetorical technique that just aids in giving context to things. It's not. I'm not using it as a crutch.
A dummy for doing this, because he's comparing the necessities of the past to the materialistic wants of our digital present. And it does not take a rocket scientist to know that this is entirely different from what is happening right now. You cannot compare.
Yeah, and I'm not making a one-to-one equivocation. I'm just using it as another example of similar issues.
The survivalist needs off of 1800s industrial London to the petty...
I mean, just as he's doing. I mean, this guy is being very hypocritical here because he used a chef analogy. That's taking fundamentally different conditions and applying it to this issue. He wouldn't say that is irrelevant, so it's wrong for him to then accuse me of irrelevance for doing the exact same thing he's doing. It is just a not very well thought out, very spite-based argument.
Materialistic wants of 2026 America and expect people to take you seriously. The only reason why he's even making this comparison is because he's just projecting his history lesson bull onto a bunch of innocent people who expect not to be robbed of their employment and creative abilities for the sake of low-effort slop. The demand of bread and flour is a necessity that people need to eat and survive for that random time period in a random country that neither one of us live in. So
it's also like very essential to our world. People still need bread and flour. Maybe it's not as much of a staple as it used to be, but it's still a staple. Still very important.
So yes, adaptation needs to be made for those needs. The demand of a bunch of random cyber criminals and meme lords using...
You gotta understand that what happened back then was a revolution that's still affecting us in this world. The reason we have such a comfortable living today is because of the revolution that the Luddites were rebelling against. And so I think when you are rebelling against this new AI revolution, you should just keep that in mind. It doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong, but what it does mean is that it's very easy to slip into the trap of thinking that because something personally inconveniences you or you find a problem with it right now, that means that it's not worth investing in. When the truth is we see with industrialization that it's given us all of these opportunities that we're enjoying today, and we wouldn't give them up. So why should we make that determination for future generations? Let them decide. And that's another value of using historical comparisons. It gives you that kind of insight that you can only get from hindsight. That's harder to get in the present moment.
And honestly, I think that generally sums up this guy's really alien mindset when addressing people who dislike AI art. He does not view them as actual people. His weird-ass perception of the opposing side he's trying to argue against is that he's talking to some kind of vocal minority that don't matter and are just throwing a hissy fit for nothing.
No, I wouldn't portray Luddites that way. I will acknowledge when they're being a bit silly, but I said that they weren't silly in the video, but I think in this case he's being a bit silly. I will acknowledge when I don't agree with them or think that their protests are pointless, as I did say. But I wouldn't say that there's some irrelevant minority that we should just dismiss. I think they have valid concerns, and I think even the concerns that are motivating this guy's perspective, this guy's take, are valid concerns. He's just not expressing it very honestly. He's not expressing it very productively.
This whole video that he made here is just him putting them in their place or some nonsense like that.
That's not what this is about, really.
And since he is so unbearable...
It was really about me wanting to defend other people who I felt were under attack, or defend this new thing that was under unjust attack. And in defending, I pull out a few barbs, I stick a few needles, poke a few people And that's the same thing I'm doing with this guy here. And I hope that he doesn't take it too personally when viewing it.
I'm not going to keep responding to his further points later into this video, because the rest of this train wreck of video...
Interesting, he's stopping here, because after this point, I go into Vosh and talk about the fascism thing that he brought up at the beginning. So I'm a little surprised that he didn't feel a need to take advantage of that by getting a few more jabs at me in there. But maybe he's going to go into more detail about my other content and more of an expose on me in these last 12 minutes or so.
Eventually just devolves into him just rambling about politics and religion and random Avatar episodes or some BS. I don't know. We're currently 47 minutes into the video.
Random Avatar episodes? It was... What was the one I used? Oh, it was the Uncle Iroh in Ba Sing Se with the tea shop. That was it. Yeah, that was a little... very, very brief aside, little analogy like, oh, this reminds me of that scenario. But as a cartoon guy, it's funny that he, that stuck out to him.
Of the point of all my responses. You get the gist at this point. I don't need to spend any more time on this. The whole point of this was originally to try and find someone who would explain why or how AI could be a good thing, as it actively negatively affects the media industry, as it floods most media websites with morally dubious, low-effort junk, and is also stealing jobs by stealing their own artwork, and videos, and music, and everything.
Yeah, it's not really what you're going to find in my video. It wasn't so much about AI being a good thing, but about there's a self-evident value to it. People do find value in it. And instead of dismissing that subjective experience and saying it's invalid that people find value in it, be accepting of that position and don't demonize it. It's more of a matter-of-fact look at things.
And apparently, as a result of me looking for someone who had something to say, what I got was an insufferable, narcissistic weirdo who doesn't address or argue out any of those dilemmas, but instead just point...
Yeah, I didn't... It's not really what the video was about. So yeah, if you're looking at that video to try to find good examples of ways that AI can be used for social betterment, generative AI for social betterment, then yeah, not really going to find it. It wasn't really what I was going for.
Eats and laughs and arrogantly talks down to anyone who has a problem with it. This guy doesn't just subtly display that he doesn't care whether AI ruins innocent people's livelihoods or not. This guy boldly and proudly doesn't care about that. What kind of person do you...
It's more that I'm looking at this as a conflict of interests. I see people with different interests as kind of the thing that drives society in an almost Marxian way or Hegelian way, you know, conflict and synthesis. And so it's about a clash of forces, a clash of wills, clash of interests. And I look at it all very matter-of-factly, and I don't judge and say that these interests are irrelevant or illegitimate just because they come at the expense of other interests. I want to look at the whole perspective, the whole issue fairly, you know. And so here I am pushing back against one certain framing. But that doesn't mean that I am trying to delegitimize the whole concern. And that was a big part of the whole context and why I was giving credence to the Luddite position in the first place.
Do you think this guy is, boys? Like, honestly, what kind of person do you think this is? What kind of person do you have to be to laugh at folks who are willing to be passionate about their craft? What kind of person do you have to be to talk about how you're all
a Hitler lover?
You don't have strong opinions, but then you turn around and get all nasty and pissy towards these YouTubers when they explain their gripes.
Nasty?
What kind of person?
I made fun of NerdSync for being very melodramatic in his presentation of material that doesn't warrant it. For the three in the middle, for Gabby Bell and Drew Gooden and Anthony Fantano, I think I was pretty nice to them. I don't think I was nasty to them. And for Vosh, I did clown on him quite a bit. He was the only one there who I think I would say, yes, fair enough, I was nasty to him.
Do you have to be to paint your fucking face all silver in contrast to your nasty ass yellow teeth and then expect people to take you seriously? But
I'm not expecting anyone to take me seriously. This is the problem with people like this, with this kind of analysis. They think of everything as this social game where it's like, oh, everything you do is to get virtue points from other people. I don't give a fuck what you or anyone else thinks about this. This is my honest perspective, and I'm going to present it because that is intrinsic value to me and my interests in life. If you don't value it, that's your prerogative. It's not mine.
by the way, I don't think he ever explained why he painted his face. But anyway, yeah, the answer is probably a really horrible, really weird person. And guess what? He's not just potentially a horrible person.
He is
He's
a horrible
also
person.
a goddamn wacko. I mean, I'm sure you guessed that, but I'm not even going to say anything. I'm not even going to, give you some hints. I'm just going to show you, okay? We're going to wrap this video up by reading the comment section of this video.
Okay, we're getting into the comments where I got pretty prickly in the comments because there's just a lot of this arrogance in the comments. A lot of people with feeling no need to justify their opinions. And so, yeah, I've got heated. I used some pretty intense insults on certain people who deserved it. Yeah, okay, so we have this comment that says, I literally hate you. Your teeth are way too yellow for YouTube. Please leave and stop living immediately. So, what is this guy's point? Like, anything I say in response to this guy, if I call him retarded, if I call him a whore who fucks his own mother, if I say anything to him, like, there's nothing I can say to this guy that he doesn't deserve. Because look at what he wrote. He wrote something with no justification, an entirely spiteful comment that exists only to give him some kind of a feeling that he has fought back against this person he is arbitrarily just determined is unlovable and unworthy of respect. Like, I don't see how anything I could say to this person would reflect poorly on me. What it might do is if you see me, being very kind of out of control of the situation, and I will admit, in these comments, there were times when I did get pretty out of control. There are times when I did let the passion of the flame war get to me, and I did get very heated and frustrated, and I let that spill out. So the most you can say to that, I think, is that I maybe, for my own sake, for my own mental health, am not doing the most wise thing in pursuing this kind of engagement. And it might be bad for my channel too. I mean, it's good for the ratings on this video. It does boost engagement and feed it into the algorithm more. But on the bigger picture, behavior like this, really combative behavior, could lead to issues with YouTube and YouTube's terms of service. And so those are things to watch out for, in ways where I can give credence to this point of view that maybe I was unwise in the way I dealt with these comments. And that's definitely something I will consider and try to, use that. And I'm not necessarily going to stop being combative altogether, but maybe this specific video and this comment section is an example of an area where I could improve, and it would help me rather than hurt me. But yeah, like already we're getting this situation where it's like, what am I? Am I not a person? Do I not deserve any respect for just having a different opinion? This is the kind of thing that you think is totally appropriate to say to me, with no justification. Like, even if this guy said all of this and then followed it up with a well-reasoned critique of what I had to say, and there were many people under this video who gave me well-reasoned critiques, I would ignore this first statement. I would just respond to his critique. Because I think I have enough respect for the process that I'm not going to let this kind of thing get to me. But if it's just this, if this is all you can think to add, then how pathetic is that? Like, how worthless is that? And so when I respond to these comments, really what I'm trying to do is just be like, no, you don't get to do this. You don't get to just put this comment and think no one's going to read it and that you won at the end of the day. Fuck off. Like, you are not superior to me. None of this demonstrates any kind of superiority. This is just pure arrogant posturing, and I'm gonna address it for what it is. And I'm gonna try to take you down a peg if I can. That's my whole motivation here. And maybe it's a misguided motivation. That's a fair critique. But let's just see what I had to say.
Oh God, I literally hate you. Your teeth, holy crap. Your teeth are way too...
Yeah, I mean, I guess this kind of thing works on some people. I guess this guy is one of these people who just thinks that this kind of comment is clever. I don't see what's so funny about it.
Yellow for YouTube. Please leave and stop living.
I don't know. I feel like this guy's standards for what he thinks is clever or amusing are a little bit too low. The guy who cares so much about art and creative expression, by the way.
Immediately. Forever Dirt responds, "Are you that bald cuck?"
Let me tell you about the bald cuck. There's this guy. I've done a couple streams with his work in my thumbnail. This guy started like commenting under all my videos about my teeth, and that's why I brought him up, because I was like, I wonder if this is the same guy because he uses different sock accounts. And I don't think he's still watching my stuff. I don't think he's still following me. I think he got over that little hate boner. But the reason I know he's bald is because he started emailing me after that. Like, the sock accounts, the multiple sock accounts commenting on my teeth weren't enough for him. He had to then email me with these pictures that he had photoshopped of me as Hideki Tojo and Adolf Hitler, I think, in these like old World War II propaganda posters. They were actually quite amusing photoshops, and like he used like pictures of me going like freeze frames to make it look like a racist Japanese caricature. And I was like, this is crazy. Someone's passionate enough about me one way or the other that they're making art of me. Like, it might be crude art, but it's art nonetheless. So I used it as, in paying tribute to him, I used it as the thumbnail of some of my streams. And then what was even crazier is that he comes out with another email at me where he's mean mugging me. He's showing his actual face, and he's saying, "You don't have permission to use my art in your videos. You got to take it down right now, or I'm going to sue you." And he like mean mugged me, and he was bald. He's like this fat old bald guy. And I'm like, oh my God, that's sad. And it was at that point when I think I just deleted his messages, and I just decided to ignore him. But this comment reminded me of that guy. Because, yeah, because the teeth thing. That's what it was. Yeah, maybe I should address the teeth thing. A lot of people don't like my teeth. I don't know. I think they're cute. They're a bit stained. They're a bit yellow, but it tends to be that I drink coffee while making videos. And I drink a lot of coffee. I'm a huge coffee drinker. And so, yeah, my teeth end up a little yellow. And I'm not ashamed of it. I don't mind the way they look. I don't mind having yellow teeth, but a lot of people think it's a really like powerful dig at me because I guess they have nothing else other than my teeth to criticize. So fair enough if that's all you got.
Who was emailing me a while back. The dude who got... Wait, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, with no context, it's like, what is he talking about? It is kind of funny.
And then Whisper Tangle steps in and says, "You're a very odd individual. You know that?" And he says, "Why?
Why?
What? Why?"
Okay, I can see the humor in this little exchange. Like, I bring up some, like, very, like something that makes no sense out of context. And then someone's like, "You're a little weird." And I'm like, why? I have no idea. I'm totally oblivious. But, you know, I guess I was just prompting more engagement, wondering if you had anything else to say.
What? What's wrong with me, man? Yo, what's weird about me? I'm very normal. What the fuck? Okay. If this is rage bait, you spent way too much time on it. If it's not, then you're just a weirdo. It's simple as it is. Your whole argument is, well, I don't mind, so it's not a problem. Like,
And of course, that's not my whole argument.
bro, get your head out of your ass. Forever Dirt responds, the premises of AI Luddites do not work.
The premises.
Again, he just keeps projecting his weird terms on us. They want to have a...
AI Luddite, yeah, it's a term that I'm projecting. It's my own invention, the concept of the AI Luddite. Other people have used it before. Like, I've seen other articles talking about neo-Luddism. But, yeah, it is my kind of personal synthesis that I sometimes like creating a term to describe in one or two words something that I'm explaining in a lot of detail.
Stranglehold over the use of IP. No, we don't. No, we don't. Okay, well, I'm sorry.
No, that's not the full sentence. I said they want to have a stranglehold over the use of IP, but for AI, but nothing else. So he didn't read the full sentence. Like, the sentence is there. This is like when Tick History was quoting, what's his name? Nah, he wasn't. He was quoting Hitler. Hitler in a conversation to Gregor Strasser, where he was saying, we don't need to socialize the markets because we've already socialized the people themselves. He's basically making an argument for National Socialism with capitalism. And then Tick History was using that quote as an argument to justify his argument that Hitler was an economic socialist, basically on the equivalency of a Bolshevik. Even though the quote he was using to justify what he was saying says the exact opposite of that. This is very similar to that. When you put a quote in the video where everyone can read it, and then you misconstrue it in a way that's so obvious that anyone with half a brain can figure out that you're wrong.
Sorry, that threw me. I really don't want to keep responding to his stupid arguments because he's just making... Like, this is just a straw man. Who the hell said that they want...
Oh, says the person who is making a straw man argument right now. He's accusing me of straw manning, I don't know, other people, when really he's straw manning me in order to get to that conclusion.
Have a stranglehold for the use of IP for AI. We just don't want AI to take our shit for their own generators. We don't care about the usage for intellectual property. Okay.
What? Can we run that back again?
IP for AI. We just don't want people... Who the hell said that they want to have a stranglehold for the use of IP for AI?
Okay. So you're not against IP being used without permission for AI.
We just don't want AI to take our shit for their own generators. We don't...
but you are against it. So we're not against it, but we are against it. You see how this doesn't make sense? Unless you add more context to this point, it falls apart. It contradicts itself. Maybe there is more context to this, but he didn't give it. So on its surface, it's meaningless.
We don't care about the usage for intellectual property. Okay, whatever.
The usage for intellectual
that's not
property.
Me saying, well, I don't mind, so it's not a problem.
Yes, you do. You demonstrably care about that. That's what the whole fucking video is about.
If you watch the whole video and only got that out of it, then you're an idiot. AI is plagiarism, you weak cuck. God.
Cuck. I guess we both love using the word cuck. No, that's Bizarre Works. That's the guy who... This guy is crazy. This is another guy kind of on the level of the bald guy. I don't think it's the same person. This guy like only responded to this video. Like he's singularly obsessed with this video. And just like me, he's going into the comments of this video routinely to respond to any new thing I say. This guy is responsible for probably a quarter of the engagement on this whole video. He is unhinged, to say the least. Although, you know, what does that say about me? This person doing something very similar, I don't know.
Peak
At
phrasing.
least I have the justification that it's my video.
Nice. I'm really trying to hate watch this video, but I'm only 3 minutes into it and I'm already sick of his voice. Good God. I'm really appreciating that these YouTube commenters are like having the same mindset as me. Like we're all like looking at this guy like, okay, something happened to this guy.
What do you not like about my voice? Like, I think I have a pretty normal sounding voice. It's not like I sound like Animat, you know, Electric Dragon Productions on YouTube.
It's a familiar name that came from outside of mainstream studios that just about every cartoon fan has heard about.
Like, that guy has a weird voice. Ordinary Sausage, you know? Hey guys, welcome back, I guess. Today we'll be making, pork butt and, black licorice sausage. Yay! It's like, I don't sound like that. I just sound like a normal guy. Like, so many of these like, insults even. Not even just the criticisms. The insults are a stretch. Like, what about my voice is unappealing? A lot of people like my voice.
In his childhood. Like, this guy got touched as a kid or something. This guy got bullied, never real...
Ooh. When I was a 10-year-old choir boy, I told my parents, and they said, "You a liar, boy." Okay, that didn't happen, but I wish that it did. I could have used a lot more sex as a kid. That was Hope is a Curse by The Amazing Atheist. Very good poem adapted into a rap by Paul Zigo.
Realized why and kept being just as insufferable. It's kind of fudged up, really. Okay. So what's that? I am so happy that someone else said this. Did you just say craft prompts with a straight face?
He shows it in the video. He shows his inspiration. Okay, he gave credit, so it's not stealing. It's not stealing when you give credit. Fair enough.
This criticism is a bit of a stretch. Semantically. You see this pretentious douche? Someone just asked if this is some kind of rage bait channel.
I'm surprised he's not going into the really mean comments I made. Like, I made some, like... I called some people retarded and stuff. Like, I was nastier than this. This is just only scratching the surface.
RAM is getting more expensive. Governments are already using AI to manufacture consent for their atrocities. The air is getting ever more polluted.
I called one guy. I had a whole back and forth with one guy who was accusing me of being a narcissist, and I was calling him a fake psychiatrist who was, like tortured by the memory of his father or something like that. Like I was like pathologizing him because he was pathologizing me. So I'm like, I'll do it back to you.
And AI is using more drinking water than people in a year. But hey, people can make selfies that look like cartoons.
See, this is a valid perspective. Like, this is not one that I would be, like, really snippy toward.
The future. Your face paint and butter yellow.
Okay, and you see, I wasn't snippy toward him. Like, this proves, like, the stuff that he's putting in his video proves me right. Like, it proves that I'm okay. I'm not like a total asshole. Like, when somebody gives me a good point, I'm not gonna just disagree with it on principle because I've decided that I believe this stupid fucking thing. It's just like... Oh, I just realized that my recording might be covering up some of this. So I'm going to turn down my webcam a bit. Sorry if you had any issue with that. This is all just kind of a flat OBS recording. I'm not doing anything complicated with it. Like I said, not a professional videographer.
Your face paint and butter teeth really do not contrast well with each other.
Fair enough, they don't really contrast well with each other. It's not exactly a flattering look.
I don't think people like your video, bro. People do, though. Name one that isn't you. Honest Elk 22. It took me 3 seconds to scroll until I found a sympathetic comment.
What I love about this exchange is the guy actually thought I wasn't going to. Like, he thought he'd be, oh, name one. You can't. And it's like, here you go. Here's one. What are you going to do now? Like, I called his bluff. I'm like, here you go. Here's one. Here's one who liked my video. Are you going to give me credit now? That's the thing. Whenever I do what people ask, whenever I actually do back up my shit, they never give me credit for it. It's not like all of a sudden, oh, I'm sorry, you were right. Sometimes, actually, that has happened. But most of the time, people, because they're not even going into this with any kind of rigor, like, it doesn't matter what I say. I'm not going to change their mind.
Plus all my friends. You don't have any friends. No, you don't. You don't have fucking friends.
Well, I had my friend Raleigh, his cousin, saw the video, and he liked it. And he actually talked to me on Discord on a call not long after I made the video, I think. And he was very effusive with support for my work and thought that the video was good. And it meant a lot to me hearing that from him. And also my friend Cody, a very good friend of mine, my best friend ever, thought the video was very good. So yeah, those are my friends who liked the video. My friends, plural. I didn't say all my friends because it was 2, but yeah.
I'm glad. I am so happy that someone. I love this comment section. We are all on the same page here. Like, I didn't even have.
Oh, the same idiot page. Like, this guy, Bazal Works, is the guy you think is the genius here. Like, I do have friends, and 2 of them watched the video and liked it. Like, this is a fact about life. And you smugly denying it just makes you look like an idiot. Like, what is this mistaking the dumbest of all idiocy for like cleverness? This is beyond fucking stupid.
Have to read. I don't know why I'm even reacting to these goddamn comments. Like, these commenters got it on. These guys are locked in, bro. These dudes are locked in. The direct quote, yes, AI does pose an existential threat to our way of life, but that's where my concern ends, is interesting. Forever.
It is interesting because it kind of defies convention when it comes to the way we frame issues. Normally, we would frame issues by, like, I guess, moral severity. And so we can just ignore the whole issue of people being wrong about AI art. Because the whole issue of the broader threat of AI trumps it. But my mentality is very different. It's like, don't just go all or nothing. Look at situations complexly and see people can be fanatical and silly and stupid. And like a good example is Emma Vigeland. I think that's how you pronounce her name. It could be something else. Vigeland. From the Majority Report with Sam Cedar. I hate her. she's an awful political commentator because she does this kind of thing that these people are doing, where it's like, because this thing I have decided is wrong, that means anything associated with it doesn't deserve any kind of sympathy or any kind of consideration. Even I can just be a smug asshole in complete mockery and contempt of anything that goes against my prerogative. And that's just anti-intellectual. That's just not fair. That's just not reflective of how things really are. And I think we should have more rigor in our lives. We should have more rigor in the things that we say and believe, and we should like actually try to justify shit instead of being a bunch of fucking morons like these people.
Dirt responds, it's intelligent. And then someone steps in and says, it's intelligent if you're obsessed with yourself. Epic. Intelligent people, and I swear to God, this guy cannot be a real human being, dude. Who says this? Intelligent people tend to find their own thoughts interesting. And
I mean, I can see how it looks kind of funny, but I do think it's true. Like, if you're an intelligent person who has a lot of deep thoughts about things, thinking about stuff can be very entertaining, and the conclusions that you come to can be interesting to you, interesting enough to want to make videos about them. Like, this guy thought that his conclusions that he came to watching my video were interesting enough. He thought his own thoughts were interesting enough to make a video about. He put a lot of effort into this video. So clearly, he finds his own thoughts interesting. So yeah, when I say it like this, yeah, you can, like, on a very superficial level, mock it as a sort of like like I'm playing a character, you know, who's very full of himself. But what I'm saying is true, and you can't deny that.
so do the intelligent. You really like repeating yourself. I'd say it seems you like hearing yourself talk, but this video already proves that. When everything you say is stupid, in the exact same way it warrants repeating. If I am repetitive.
I have not found myself not on my own side at any point in this. I'm loving this. This is just showing me off as being, like, way more intelligent and interesting than any of these people.
It is entirely your fault, so blame yourself. Feel bad.
Blame yourself. If you don't have a job and you're not rich, blame yourself.
Stay quiet. This guy types like he's a goddamn James Bond villain. But like you know, okay, you ever see, like,
you know what I kind of type like is Marco Pierre White. I didn't make him cry. It was his choice to cry.
If you have to take your pan off the stove, then you're lacking understanding in temperature. Question why you're doing what you're doing.
the bad guy in an anime, you know how they all talk like freaking, oh, you are an insect that is simply
I don't watch
being
anime.
stepped on. Yes, that's what this that's how this dude talks. There are other comments here that are absolutely awesome, but I can't really say them out loud because you know how YouTube is. These dudes they're gonna black hole this video. I might have to censor all the swear words in this video too, just to be safe, man.
Oh, okay.
Just know that the guy's a mentally
So the
erased.
more spicy ones he's not going to go into. But it's unfortunate because those might have been the ones that prove his point better. You know, showing me being very unleashed, you know.
Okay, so I saved the last two comments as for the best ones because they're
Okay, quite a stutter on that line. But
they
let's
say
keep
a lot
going.
about this guy. So my most recent video about fascism was removed by YouTube. Not a surprise at all. The part that was flagged was where I said I
do admire Hitler.
What? I do admire Hitler. I gotta censor that. It was flagged as hate speech because, I mean, it basically is, even though there are plenty of
But it isn't. Finish the sentence.
There's plenty of reasons to admire a racist without agreeing with his racism.
Keep going. You're almost there.
Hey guys, I admire Jeffrey Epstein because I can admire someone's fantastic investing abilities without agreeing with the fact that he is a degenerate child trafficker that has ruined the lives of literal hundreds of thousands of innocent young girls. Guys, it's okay for me to have respect for Jeffrey Epstein, guys. Like what the f? Like.
This is this unironically. There's actually a guy I was talking to on Discord who's like this funny little like liberal douchebag. Like he has kind of a persona. He was on a server I was watching and participating in until they banned me the other day. And so yeah, this but I think that was one thing he did say. He was like, yeah, Jeffrey Epstein was a good investor. Yeah, it's not wrong to say that people have certain admirable qualities and certain, dishonorable ones. And to be able to see the nuance in that picture. It's not hate speech to say that I like certain things about someone and not other things,
Reading! Yo, this guy is like the Christian of AI bros. Like, I cannot believe I am witnessing this.
How? Okay, taking a deep breath there. Yeah, I don't see the Christian comparison at all. Christian is a severely autistic man with just no self-awareness at all. Whose life has been kind of tragically manipulated by trolls. Yeah, I don't see how that has really any comparison to my situation.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, bro. Weird. The white guy that said, I admire... What? And has also said the N-word.
Okay, maybe he's like pretending to laugh here because he doesn't want to have to say the word Hitler in his video for monetization purposes. Luckily, I'm a true artist, so I don't care about money. And I'll just say what I have to say because I'm not greedy. I think this guy has more in common with the AI bros than he thinks.
Word multiple times on camera also likes AI. What a strange coincidence. To which he Forever Dirt's response is, I am black, actually.
This one was just a throwaway. This one was just like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to have fun. I think I said I have vitiligo. I'm a black man with vitiligo.
Okay, so I'm not even going to comment on that. So yeah, that's my general response to this pro AI video. Could it be
that was actually a recent one too? When was that? Just a month ago, as of this, which was like 2 weeks ago.
This pro AI video. Could it be that this video
this video has been up for a long time? My original
video
that
he's receiving is totally unwarranted, or could it be that this entire video is just 1 hour and 16 minutes worth of poorly framed, incoherent rambling, haphazardly scripted, and poorly?
No, you're just pretending it is. Like even you know that my video is way better than this half-ass horse shit you're making in response to it. This is just posturing. Like, you can't watch this video all the way, watch my video all the way through, and think that my points weren't well argued, at least, unless you're just in denial of it.
This pretentiously presented slop by a mentally ill sociopath racist who has never mentally matured out of his high school emo edgelord phase. Who knows?
I was never emo. I was into the Beatles and then like Irish and Scottish folk music. I didn't get into Marilyn Manson until I was 17. And by that point, I had already a pretty established kind of aesthetic of what I was into, what kind of things I liked. And Marilyn Manson was more like an oddball thing that I was looking at from the outside. I was never an emo kid.
Those boys. Who knows?
I was, however, an edgelord. I was really into the anti-SJW, like, atheist community on YouTube. So that is one thing that I never grew out of, is being an edgelord. But I think I've adapted it to a good a good place where it serves my interests, and I think it serves a productive purpose more than an ill one. I've channeled my urges into a good way.
That's going to be all for this video. This is
All right.
Blacklight Jack signing out. You guys have a good one.
Okay. So, I mean, overall, I enjoyed this video. It's really quite a dream come true, honestly. To get a response like this with as much effort put in, like, you know, it's half-assed in terms of the writing, but in terms of the production, you know, it's like any YouTube drama, like, commentary channel. Like a legit guy with a lot of subscribers, way more than I've ever had. 66,000. This guy is really on the up, and he chose to look at me, someone with only 3,000 subscribers, and he thought I was so interesting that I was worth making an hour-long, fully produced video on. And honestly, that's just like a dream come true. This kind of thing, one of the reasons I respond to so many comments like this is because I'm just dying for this kind of engagement. I'm dying for this. Like, this is what I live for, guys. To be able to really, you know, go back and forth with people. Not necessarily in a debate setting where I'm just trying to justify an opinion, but to really use rhetoric to clarify perspective as much as possible, and hopefully communicate something and have a real productive engagement. Like, it's different when it's in this format where I make one thing, he makes another thing based on it, I make another thing based on that. That creates a distance that doesn't allow for much communication. Let me just full screen this so you can see me better. That creates a distance that doesn't allow for a lot of communication. But I think what I also like is being just in a space with somebody. It could be virtual or it could be in person. And being able to communicate these perspectives without all of the distance. And I think you find that when people are together with honest aims like that, even if it's just on one side, more gets done, more gets communicated. And it's not just all about scoring some kind of virtue points, especially if nobody's watching it. You know, it's just you. I think you see that in, like, I posted an exchange I had with another YouTuber who now hates me. Of course, Alchemist Soil. Alchemist Soil, who I consider a bit of a coward and a hypocrite based on the way he's treated me. But I don't think that he's fundamentally like an idiot. And I don't think he has like no perspective or nothing to offer. But I think you see in my exchange with him how I like to go about exchanges. I listen. I try to give credence where I think it's warranted. And I try not to be overly snippy either. And that exchange went very well. It was a very nice, pleasant exchange between us. And then it's just unfortunate that, like, since then, he just seems to have hated me more and more and found me more and more contemptible. Just because I disagree with him on certain things. But I guess that's it for this video. I'm glad he made the video. I liked the video. And I do think I have a lot in common with him. But, that's just my side of things. He might refuse to even watch this response. He might just cast me aside as totally worthless, not worth paying attention to, even though he paid attention to me for an hour-long video. I'm hoping it doesn't go that way, though. I'm hoping that maybe he'll see this and maybe he will think a little bit differently of me. But yeah, that's all for today. I hope to get more of these in the future. I hope to get more video responses. But this was a good one.